From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 225 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. We're recording today, Saturday, March 29th, 2025. I'm Warren, hiding here in the state of Washington.
I'm John from Virginia.
Karin from Lebanon.
Coming up in this episode, we have the following. In our Android Basics segment, we return to eBooks Part 2, the off-the-shelf ebook readers, and today we're talking about non-blindness related ebook readers. In the spotlight, we discussed the One UI 7 Beta 2 for the S23 series that I got here in the States. And then in the app of the week, to commensurate with the theme of this week's episode, I'll be demonstrating an ebook reader. And then our friend Joe Hodge closes this week's episode with a tip of the week as he shows us how to take advantage of Gemini sharing screen. Welcome to episode 225. Baby girl, let's start with you. Tell me what's going on in that beautiful Lebanon, the mountains and all that good stuff, cedar trees. What else is going on?
Everything's going well here. For one, I want first to say Happy Eid to every listener who celebrates it. It will be tomorrow, actually. Well, I think some countries might have it on Monday, but most of the countries, including Lebanon, we are celebrating Eid al-Fitr tomorrow, Sunday. So I want to wish everyone a happy, prosperous, great Eid. Well, things are going well here, but we are starting to get the feel of summer. And you know how much I hate hot weather, how much I hate summer because of the hot weather, actually. But yeah, I hope that we will have some cooler weather next week, because I don't like to live summer from now because it's still really early. So yeah, let's wait and see.
You know, talking about summer, Karin, I really think whenever we talk about summer, I'm looking at food. So I like my food, and my theory or my doctrine is that without that summer, I wouldn't have that food. So bring it on. Summer's good for you. If you want to eat food like me, you definitely need to have that summer. So, but other than that, so you guys celebrating tomorrow, and so lots of meats and all of that good stuff. Congratulations to you guys. And it seems like you guys, for some reason, it seemed like it was so short this year. I mean, maybe because I wasn't doing it, but it seems like it came and went really fast.
It's almost the same, actually. All the months are the Hijri month, which are based on the moon. Actually, they are either 29 or 30 days. This year. This month is 29 days. So for this reason, and it started this time at the first on March the 1st. So actually, the Eid will be tomorrow, March 30.
Have a great party on our behalf, and we celebrate with you. John, what's going on, my man? Were you fixing any housing stuff, remodels and stuff like that?
So I did have to go up in the attic this morning, but it's just to, I like to adjust my dampers in the HVAC system to kind of, when I do this when the seasons change, to get more cold air upstairs rather than downstairs. And then I do the reverse in the winter. So it is up in the 80s today, and it's going to be up in the 80s this week. So I think it's probably safe to assume the weather's going to stay warm at this point. So yeah, I went up there and took care of that.
You know, it's amazing that it looks like this year, though, summer is coming out early because believe it or not, I think it was sometime this week, maybe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember. Maybe it was even Monday. We actually got to 73 degrees here, and something we've never experienced, like in the month of March. And then, of course, the past few days, it's just been like in the high 40s to low 50s. So it's kind of really interesting. But if you look around the country, it's kind of like you have this snow going on here, and then you have a high temperature somewhere. It's just amazing what's going on. But I'm glad, like I said, it's that time of year, and I'm looking at my lilacs are starting to bloom out there really good. So it's a good thing to see those things going on, and all the fruit trees, blooming as well. So I'm looking forward to that great summer, Karen. I know you don't like it, but I like my food. So welcome, summer. And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Let us now move on to our first item of the week, and we're talking about the Android Basics, and we're talking about ebook readers. I know, John, you don't really care too much about ebook readers. Tell me and our listeners why it is that you don't necessarily care about ebook readers. Did any of them steal away your girlfriend at some time? What's going on with the hate-love relationship between you and the ebook readers?
I don't know. I do use reading mode all the time for articles, right? But if I have an actual book that I want to listen to, I just prefer like an actual narrator. So I'll just get the audiobook of the book if it's available. I mean, if I really wanted to read a book and it didn't have an audiobook, obviously I'd have to use an e-reader. But yeah, that's just how I do books, I guess. Which is funny because I was when we were talking about the podcasts a few weeks ago, I told you I don't take. You kind of laughed at me when I said I don't take podcasts very seriously. Like they're kind of background noise to me, and they don't matter. But when I do listen to a book, like I want to be dialed in, and I want to, it just matters to me that it's a real person for whatever reason reading it to me. I mean, we're getting to the point where some of these do sound like real people, but even though they sound real, like them trying to sound real kind of annoys me at the same time. Like hearing them take breaths and stuff, and it's like, don't take a breath. You're not a person, right? So I don't know. I just at this point, I mean, things may change in the future, but at this point, I prefer real people narrators.
Yeah, and I do understand that, some people are like that. They just like to hear the real McCoy and all of that. But like you said, though, we are now in that era where all these AI voices, and I'm always looking at that ElevenLabs reader because that Brian voice that you guys know that I use as my default when it comes to the ElevenLab reader, it sounds so realistic to me, humanly speaking. And it just, it even has, like if there's some place that, someone is supposed to raise their voice in either anger or whatever, it does that. And so to me, it just, the barrier between the human voices and that AI is so close together that it's so hard to believe that we've just started, just not too long ago, and look at how far we've come. So I'm just imagining what it would be like in a couple more years, and whether or not we'll be needing any human narrators, John. So that's left to be seen. But I think as it is, we will always have human narrators. So, Karen, you and I love ebook readers. I have a bunch of those things from the FB reader. I think I'll be demonstrating an FB reader here some time to come, maybe later on. I don't remember that we have demonstrated the FB reader, and then there's one that I was also going to demonstrate. It's called a Cantook, Cantook. I think it used to be Aldiko, 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 and used to have the classic one, and now they have a new one that they call the Cantuk. And I realized it's kind of really interesting. It's almost like what I'll be demonstrating later on in our app of the week. But I have several of these, and some of my favorites, like I've always said, is that ElevenLabs reader. And then, of course, we have that Speech Central, which is not necessarily blindness specific, but it's one of those ebook readers off the shelf, as I call them, because there's nothing special about them that we have. And then I have that Libera or whatever that we have, and then I have a bunch of those in my ebook readers. I probably have 12 or 15 ebook readers, and from time to time I switch from different one to another one to see what has changed. Playbooks, John, I know you do audiobooks, but Playbooks, though, it supports audiobooks from Google. Have you tried Playbooks?
No. I use Audible and I use Libby, and then I use Smart Audiobook Player or Listen Audiobook Player for those audiobooks that have just appeared on my device somehow.
Yeah, so when we get to audiobooks, John, we're going to be counting on you because outside of the board from the National Library Service here in the States, I think that's the one that I have. And I have that Listen Audio book player, and I also have the Smart Audio Player. But I haven't used those because I don't have any audiobooks. But yeah, ebook readers, I think for me, one of the reasons why I like ebook readers is the fact that if there's something that I'm not familiar with the spelling, I can find out the spelling of that stuff. And then secondly, like I said, the table of contents support is key for me in an ebook reader, where I could jump and skip all that, prefaces and all that intro, blah, blah, blahs. I want to get to the meat of the book, so I just want to jump to chapter 1 and start listening and all of that. So I like ebook readers that support the table of contents, and there are some of them that don't, and some of them do. But most of the ones that I have, they have that support, and especially I also wanted to be able to support the TTS output. Karen, girl, how about you?
Well, I'm a book lover, actually, and I'm not at all a fan of audiobooks. Although some people might say, okay, but when you're using a TTS engine or an AI voice, you're actually listening using, like, it's an audio at the end of the day. But I like to select the voice that I want to listen the book with. And maybe you remember, I was telling you once that I'm the person who just uses a female voice for the female narrator, for example, if I'm reading a novel, and the male voice for the male. And sometimes I could just, if there are several characters, I might switch between the voices according to how I think the character is. So this can't be done with audiobooks. And well, regarding ebook readers, let's say that I came late to all of this. I was always the traditional person, who just uses the TTS, the screen reading. Like I was using Office when Office was something that you could use. No, it's not. Word isn't the thing that you would be happy to use. Microsoft Word on the Android, actually, it's not that good. But then I started using Add Voice Aloud. I used it for a bit, and then I used Speech Central. Speech Central is one of the good ebook readers out there. And I use Quickify, not really for book reading, for article reading, just because of the Azure Voices, the Microsoft Azure Voices. I like the voices. So I always see myself just sharing the articles to Quickify and starting reading with the Ryan UK voice. It's a great one. So the point why I'm not actually using I'm not like the person who was before. with books, because currently I'm subscribed to a book app, which is a library, an Arabic library. So the point is they don't offer the books as EPUBs or any other format. So you have to open the book using their app, using their reader. But the good thing that you could copy the pages because the text is exposed to the screen reader. So it's possible to copy the pages. So because I'm spoiled by the 11 reader voices, which are making me like feel I'm unwilling to listen to books using my TTS engine. So I usually copy, like, for example, 20 or 30 pages, and then I import them to ElevenLabs, and I read using ElevenLabs, just because the AI voices, although they act weirdly sometimes, but they are good. They are like at the next level. And because we are, as blind people, used to the expressions that are not in their place, like when the TTS engine tries to give to be expressive, not as it should be. So it's just okay to have this AI voice also does this sometimes not in their place. So it expresses not as it should. But actually, for me, I'm used to this. I feel like it's funny sometimes to see these expressions and this way of expressing ideas wrongly. I think it's entertaining. I think. I want to talk about Speech Central. Speech Central is one of very good apps, and it's available for blind people. It's something generous from the developer. If you are a blind person, when it detects that you're using a screen reader, either G-Show or TalkBack, it will give you all of the features for free, so which is great. And it supports the Google online voices and also the voices that you have on your device, local TTS engines. And he started supporting ChatGPT, GPT-4o mini voices on iOS. I hope that this will come to Android soon. But the problem with Speech Central is, well, did you face the issue when you try to open a book and it says this app uses TTS engine from Google and you should install it first, and then you have the OK button? Did you face this? Although Google TTS is already installed.
Exactly. I've been wondering why that is. It's somehow failing to see that the TTS is there already, and it just assumes that you don't have it for some reason, even though when you click that OK, everything is fine. So I don't think that the developer, maybe he hasn't been seeing that. I don't know what the case is, but I always find that to be very funny every single time that I try to use it. And I haven't used it in quite a while. But like you've said, if it now supports these other voices that you're talking from, ChatGPT or whatever on Fruitvale, I hope it comes to Android soon. And I'm thinking he might, because if those voices are not necessarily coming from him, but coming from, maybe ChatGPT or whatever, that he would give us those voices as well. But yeah, I like Speech Central, Karen, and it used to be my default prior to the ElevenLabs reader. That is, Speech Central used to be my go-to, but with that ElevenLabs, it has become my default. The only shortcoming that I have with ElevenLabs that I wish the developer could fix is the part of the exposure of the text. I like the text to be exposed to the screen reader in the event that I come across certain words that I'm not familiar with. I want to be able to figure out the spelling of that word. So far, that's an impossibility with the ElevenLabs reader. Do you find that to be like a deal breaker? I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, but it's an annoying thing that we can't see the words on the screen with our screen reader, even though they're right there.
I was going to ask you actually, are sighted people able to see the actual text?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, the text is all there. I mean, it's nice text out there. And but then you said something earlier, Karen. So you copy. So the your library app, so the format is not an EPUB, so you have to copy page by page or several pages until you finish copying the book. That's a very laborious
No,
process.
actually, I don't copy all of the book because I know that I'm gonna, for example, read for about 30 minutes or whatever. So I just copy, about 30 pages, for example, or 40 pages. Yeah, but I'm a Gisho user, don't forget this. So it's not really a tedious process to copy because I will be... So the format of the book is each page is one focus. So for Gisho user like me, it's just like I do the copy gesture for the first focus, then I move to the next focus, and then I use that pen. So it will take 2 or more 3 seconds maybe to copy each page. So it's not something that's really problematic. But going back to ElevenLabs and the exposure of text to screen reader, actually for me it's a deal breaker. Yeah, but not with ElevenLabs for one reason, which is the ElevenLabs voices. I think you also are forgiving them just for this, because they are really different level. when you start reading with these AI voices, you feel I don't want to go back to my TTS to my boring TTS engine. I don't want to I like them. So, and there are a lot of them, and they are all available for free for now. Well, for me, I don't know if I'm going to subscribe when it's out of the free stage, but I think it will be something it will be hard to return back to the voices, to reading via the old traditional TTS voices that we have.
Talking about, subscribing to the voices, I've been thinking about that, and it kind of saddens me. It has not happened, and yet I don't want to be pessimistic, and yet in the same breath, I want to be optimistic, thinking, hey, this is a possibility, something like this could happen, and if it does happen, what am I going to do? I've come to love that free voices, and it's not like I use several. I just use that Brian as my default because I really like it. And I don't know, is it Brian or Ryan? I think it's Ryan, right? I don't remember. Maybe it's Brian.
There is Brian, and there is the Ryan Kirk, which is one of the voices that you have to save yourself. It's not from the default voices. You have to go to voices and tap save. I use both, actually. To be honest, I switch between about 10 voices. So, for example, the novel that I'm reading right now, which is, by the way, called Our House. Maybe you know it, actually. It's
Our House.
You can search for it. Yeah,
a fictional book, because I'm not so much into fiction. Now and then I read fiction books, and I've been reading lots of Louis L'Amour. Is it Louis L'Amour or something? I've read a lot of his books. I think I've read almost all of his books. I've read probably 40 books, and that's because I'm using that ElevenLabs reader, and it's just so nice to listen to those books. And I don't know, the good part also is that I can import Bookshare books. I download them as EPUB and just use my ElevenLabs reader instead of the original or official Bookshare reader.
Yeah, but does it support table of contents?
ElevenLabs, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it supports table of contents, and the only drawback, like I said, is that exposure of text that it doesn't support, but it does support chapters or table of contents, so you can skip all that nonsense and go straight to the meat.
Yeah, I think it's a very good application, and as I was saying earlier, it's really great to be able to switch easily between voices. And for people who are wondering how you can save voices, you can go to the voices tab, and then there you will find a lot of voices, maybe 50 voices, I think. Well, let's say that some of them are trash, but there are some good ones.
No, listen here, girl. What do you think trash? Maybe somebody's food,
Okay,
One
no problem.
one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Exactamundo. So I mean, there are a lot of some other languages in there that I probably don't care about or don't know. But that's somebody's food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I don't like even the iconic voices that they are making a lot of like hype about them. Okay, those iconic voices, I'm not a fan at all.
You don't like
Maybe
those iconic
old
voices.
people who have memories, maybe with those voices. Okay, but not me actually. So
Yeah.
so yeah. But when you save a voice, actually you can use actions to preview a voice, which is great. This is, I think, the only place where actions are supported. Then if you like a voice, you will be able to save the voice, so it's added to your list of voices. So when you are reading a book, you could just tap select voice and then my voices and select the voice that you want and just tap save, and you can continue reading using that voice, and you can switch voices as much as you want. Like whenever you want, you can just switch the voice and continue reading. So it's really something great about ElevenLabs, and also the multi-language support. So a voice is able to read Arabic, is able to read English, is able to read Turkish, and many other languages, which is really great, especially that because these are AI voices. So the way they are trained and the way they are really able to read, I mean, this voice the samples that they used might not include any of the special Arabic letters, but in the same time, you will see like it's reading the Arabic text like an Arabic native. It's able to read all of the letters, even the letters that are really hard to be read. And I think that the person himself that I mean, the actual person who has the voice might not be able at all to read these letters, but at the same time, you will be able to read them using ElevenLabs, which is really great. So ElevenLabs has this special AI voices. So, and they are, I think, the best with respect to AI created voices until now. So yeah, they are great.
I am glad they're supporting the Arabic language, because sometimes a lot of them don't support many languages. But to see that ElevenLabs supporting several different languages, I think that's one of the plus. And no wonder, they're like the king when it comes to these AI voices. I know there's another one there. I think it's the Hume, HUME, something like that. But I don't see them with an app, and I think you have to pay for it and things like that. But anyway, ElevenLabs, until something changes, it will be my default ebook reader. And even if I have to copy pages and paste it in there, I'm happy to do so. The good thing is that it supports, EPUB, PDF, and does it? I think it supports TXT as well, doesn't it? I don't know. I haven't had anything in a text format that I would want to try it with. But have you tried anything that is text-based, like a .txt file, Karen, and if it supports it or not?
Yeah, indeed, it supports TXT format because I tried before. So yeah, this is, but I don't know about Word documents. I don't remember if I tried something. Did you try anything like Docs, or did you try?
I haven't, and that's an interesting thing because I don't have any books or whatever documents that I want to use. So I will try that after this and see if it supports such. But I don't know. Something tells me it might. I may be wrong, but I want to err on the part that it would support a .docx file.
Another ebook reader worth mentioning is the @Voice Aloud, which is also one of the old ebook readers. I think maybe it's 2013 or maybe earlier or something like that. I remember that I saw this one like maybe 10 years ago or before, actually. So it's one of the old ones. And one thing that I should praise the developer for is the consideration of accessibility. He cares about accessibility. When you try to talk with him about a certain accessibility issue, he is always collaborating. He's always trying to do his best, which is something great. Ebook readers are loved by sighted and non-sighted, actually. So sighted people also use them, also benefit from them. Also, even the read aloud feature in the ebook readers using the engine, TTS engine, is something that also sighted people use. But when this benefit also blind people as well, this is great, especially when you're talking about mainstream apps. You are getting updates. You are getting usually you're getting better support. So this is great. I like when a mainstream app is used also by blind people, and also blind people are able to take advantage of it. And Advoice is one of these apps. And I think, if I remember correctly, actually, I haven't used it since a while, but I think that it also now supports Azure Voices. It also supports Amazon as well, but I think you have to enter the necessary data yourself. So if you are able to get the API key and stuff, so you will be able to add the voices. So you are able to read using these voices with Advoice. This is what I remember had happened. I think this is the case now. Also, you can use as well the TTS engines on your phone. And then something that I like about Advoice, it's more simple. It's more, let's say, it has a better UI, I think, compared to Speech Central. Like Speech Central, sometimes you feel when you go to settings and try to select the TTS engine, try to select voices, you feel like it's like not the best experience. It's slightly confusing. Sometimes you feel that your screen reader is about to crash sometimes. So yeah, but Advoice is better in this case. So I think this is a great thing about Advoice. Aloud, also you can, the text is exposed to the screen reader, and you can, of course, read using TTS, as I was talking about before. So yeah, but one thing that I want to talk about with respect to all of these ebook readers, I hope that it will be fixed, or any ebook reader will just work on this. The problem with the text, you usually aren't able to use, for example, headings, or to use links of the granularity of your screen reader to move, even if the book itself supports headings or the links. So this is, I think, a problem. If this navigation is supported using TalkBack, for example, it will be easier with some books to navigate them, which is not the case until this moment. At least I don't know about any ebook reader that has this support. So I don't know. Do you think that it's something that you could care about, Warren?
So I'm thinking, though, could the problem then be coming from the screen reader? Have you tried that with your confused screen reader and unable to get to the links? I'm just kind of thinking that if the links are already embedded in the books, for example, and one switches to the link, if you're using a screen reader, one should be able to get to it. But if we're not getting to it, then I think we have an inherent problem somewhere that needs to be fixed. I haven't had the need to do that, but I've seen, links in books when I'm reading, especially with the screen reader. Some of them have links in there, like you've indicated. So you don't see that with CSR either, to where you could jump to a link?
Well, I tried with headings a while before, and it didn't work. Actually, I think also this could be due to something related to how it exposes the text after because it usually extracts the text. So I think it could be extracting it unformatted. So this could be the reason, actually, for the screen reader not seeing them as headings, for example. So this could be the case. I don't know. But I remember that it didn't work, at least with headings, with both. Actually, Jisho can't navigate with headings or links if you're not using web views. So this is a problem of Jisho. But with TalkBack also, it doesn't work. So I don't know if there's something that has changed recently, but I remember that this was a problem.
So that's a homework. I'm going to try to see what I, find out because I've never really tried to do that. But going back to the at Voice Aloud, you're correct. At Voice Aloud Reader came to us, I think, back in January of 2013. So we're talking of 12 years ago. And that one thing that you mentioned, the guy is very proactive about anything having to do with accessibility. And it supports other formats as well, as you indicated earlier, carrying, especially you could also read Bookshare books with it, but it's a little bit, the implementation is not very good. You have to go to whatever and try to say, hey, open with whatever, and then choose at Voice Aloud Reader. I talked to the guy, if you could just implement it, and he said, well, if this works, I'm not going to worry about it. So that's one of those things. But other than that, it's just a great ebook reader. And like you said, the layout is very simplistic. And, I'm all about simplicity. I like things that are easy and very simple so that people are not confused. You don't have to dig through, tons of different settings to find things. I mean, at Voice Aloud, make no mistake, it has lots of settings, but the UI is very clean and simple. Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. Let's now move on to the next segment. That's a Spotlight, and we're talking about the Samsung One UI 7 Beta 2, especially for the S23 series that I got this week. And it's been a life changer. I mean, not necessarily changing my life, but that was a hyperbole. But yeah, I've seen things that have happened with this beta, which is also the April security patch. Mine coming in at almost 1.2 gigs for my S23 Plus. And John, the thing that I like about it, which I believe you already have seen a long time, since yours, your S24 has several, betas on there, is that being able to switch from that Bixby button to use it for some other digital assistant that one has on their device.
Yeah, I think that's the big new feature in this one. Yeah, my S25 has had it since I got it. Also, worth pointing out, this is the second beta for the S23 series, but I think overall this is the fifth, maybe sixth. It's at least the fifth beta if you've had it on your 24 series device, because they started back in December. But yeah, this is a I'll tell you why I'm happy it's here now, because obviously you've been able to do this before, right? With different good luck modules, you could use Routines Plus at one point, and then they introduced Registar that lets you assign the assistant or Gemini to the side key. But the good thing about having it built into the settings like this is that you can have Gemini be your side key, but then if you're using Samsung's keyboard and the keyboard is on screen, when you press and hold the side key, that starts voice dictation, and then when you let go, it ends the voice dictation. So this previously, if you had messed with that side key implementation by using a good lock module, it kind of broke the ability to use the side key with voice typing in Samsung's keyboard. But now you can have the best of both worlds if you want, assuming you're using Samsung's keyboard, which I think a lot of people just use Gboard instead.
That's really good. And another part that I like, you could do a quick double press of that, and you could assign it to some other app that you want to launch it with. And I really like it. So it's kind of making me to become more of a Samsung lover. I know Karen doesn't. She probably would want to cut my head off. I think it's making me, like Samsung, just because of that implementation. I could use it.
You like it because you don't use it as your phone every day. If you had to use it as your phone every day, you probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. You know, the one thing that kind of bugs me with Samsung is that, you know, especially like the keyboard, their own keyboard, it doesn't support the shift plus number signs. Like like when I say I want to do an exclamation mark and I do a shift and hit, you know, number 1 to give me an exclamation mark. I don't know why Samsung doesn't do that. It's kind of every you know, phone manufacturers that I see seem to support that, except Samsung for some reason.
Another feature I want to talk about in the new beta is the implementation of Gemini image description, online image description in TalkBack. So it's now like Google's TalkBack, so people can just feel happy about it and wait for the final release to
Wait a minute. Are you serious?
Sure not. I'm not serious. But didn't he say that he likes Samsung? So I'm
Oh
giving him
my
a reason to like it more.
Doggone you, girl.
You got my hopes up.
You got his heart, you know, jolting for no reason at all.
I was like, why's the beta getting this? And I'm in what they supposedly call
The
stable,
6th beta or something.
and I don't have it.
Exactly. Like, but just think about it. If I know this information, could I just stay silent and not talk about it in the group at least? So, yeah. But unfortunately, as far as I know, there's nothing related really to Gemini improvements. So it's likely that the final release will be without any sort of image description, like usual. So we have only the available image description on S24, S25. I mean S25. Well, what's the case about that? Do you still have your S24, John?
No, I don't.
Okay, I was just curious to know if it will include the offline image description, because I think that it also it already has the Gemini Nano, so technically this should work. So I don't know what are they going to do
on the S23 Plus. Do you have image descriptions?
With TalkBack,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't.
Oh,
Not
well.
at all? Nothing?
Well, yeah, I try to do it, and it just doesn't do it. You know, it's just like your S25 Ultra, John, where you don't have it. I
No,
don't have it.
mine does it. Mine has it. It's just done locally.
Yeah, well, but it's not as verbose as what you get with the.
But I'm
TalkBack.
asking, do you have an image description at all? Is your phone nearby you?
Yeah, it does have image description in there. Yeah.
Wait. What? Wait. Okay, it has Gemini Nano anyway, the S23. But so can you do this describe image? Because it you know, Samsung used to do the same wording. So even if you if it tells you that this is image description, it could be just the text description.
Yeah.
So did you try it?
We're not asking if describe images in your TalkBack menu. We're asking if you go into TalkBack settings, can you turn on or off image descriptions, or can you only turn on or off icon descriptions and text descriptions?
I see what you mean. Hey, do you want, guys? Let me go grab.
Yeah, go grab it.
Give me a couple minutes, please.
This would be
I
interesting.
am curious.
Yeah, because I want to be. I'm curious as you. I'm as curious as you guys are. So let me go grab that.
Yeah, because I've hated that they call it describe image even though it doesn't describe image. That's so annoying.
Well, this is Google's mistake, and they didn't try to fix it.
It used to actually say describe text and image. It used to say that, and then they changed it, even though that's all it still does on Samsung devices.
Oh my God, Samsung.
Okay, so I just got my S23 Plus. I'm gonna go to
Signed in as
the discovery page.
Button. Google reminds Pixel owners that the handy Palm timer works with the rear camera.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to go to the TalkBack menu and see
TalkBack menu.
if there's
Describe
gonna be
image in list.
so see there's describe image right there at the top. Let me see.
Detected. Text G. 9T. Google reminds Pixel owners that the handy Palm Timer works with the rear camera. To 5 Google 2D.
Okay, Karen, you raise your hand.
No, this was my mistake. I was unmuting myself.
So
I'm not that polite. I always say.
now go into the settings because it sounds like it's only reading text. Go into
Yeah,
the
yeah, it's the old one.
yeah,
It's
it's
the old
only
one.
reading text. Yeah, let's go into the settings.
Talkback menu. Talkback settings. Talkback settings. Navigate up.
Okay, so I should go
Out of
to the
list.
image description thing, right?
yeah. See what it's
Advanced
called.
settings. Automatic Braille. Automatic descriptions. 10 of 20.
Yeah, go
Okay,
in
so
there.
let's look at what it has.
Automatic description.
It doesn't have
Navigate
anywhere
up.
near what
Out of-
Google
out of-
has.
Automatic icon descriptions. Unlabeled icons only. 1 of 2.
So it only has
Yeah,
two.
so it just has
Automatic
icons and
descriptions for
text.
Yeah, and then it
Automatic
has-
icon automatic descriptions for text and images.
Yeah, so it still
Unlabeled
doesn't
images
have
only. 2 of 2.
Yeah, it
Any
doesn't
image
have.
But shouldn't S23 have the Nano Gemini Nano thing? Didn't they say that Gemini Nano is already there?
Yeah, it's there.
So what's the point?
Does it tell you what's it tell you for your talkback version in the settings? Does it say
Yeah, I think it's
15.2?
15 point. Let me see.
Help. Night talk.
Or is it
Google
15
Talkback
or do they call it
tutorial.
15.1?
Tutorial and help.
I
Open
forget.
Talkback in the Galaxy Store. Current Talkback version. 15.1. 16 of 20.
Oh, it's 15.1. Why? I thought it has
Details. Navigate up.
15.2, and I'm not seeing.
Installed.
There's
Button.
no update.
I don't
No,
think
I
they
think
ever had.
this is the only one.
15.2. Yeah,
UI home.
That's
their
the only one. Okay.
15.1 is 15.2 because they already supposedly have the Braille display support built in, which is the only thing that was added in 15.2. But now I'm wondering about that since it doesn't even have the.
I was going to ask you, are you
image
sure?
descriptions. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
I have a question. Actually, it's about the feature that Warren is so much happy about. Well, before when I tried to use the register to assign the long pressing of the power key to invoke Gemini, it didn't work when I'm on the lock screen. So is this any different? Because actually, for me, I usually keep the power button, long press of the power button for the power options because I'm the traditional style. I don't like to just use. I like this key to be just for power option stuff. But if it works when I'm on the lock screen, this will be a game changer for me because I don't use a wake word. I hate using a wake word. So for me, this is the only problem right now because I don't have any way to invoke the assistant while the phone is still locked. So is there any difference here?
So I'm gonna hold down. I'm on the home screen, right? And I'm gonna
Turn off
hold
the
No,
phone and turn it back
be on the lock
so that
screen.
you're on your lock screen.
Oh, on the lock screen. Okay.
Screen off.
So now I'm gonna turn it on.
11:05 a.m. No SIM emergency calls only.
Okay.
System UI. Phone. Button. Out of pager. The fingerprint sensor is centered
Oh,
in the
brother.
lower part.
Yeah.
Don't you love Samsung
Oh,
for
brother.
reminding you where the sensor is every day?
Yeah. So now I'm gonna hold down the power key. What's the weather?
It's currently 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 degrees Celsius in Moxie,
Okay,
Washington.
this is great
The
now.
humidity is 63%. There is a 30% chance of precipitation today.
List of conversations.
And you know what I don't like about the beta, of course, you know, John, you and I talked about the the beta, how Samsung is not doing beta right. You know how it is with a Pixel phone, when you turn on the phone and you are in a beta, it will show up, before the lock screen, letting you know that you are running beta. Now with Samsung, of course, it doesn't do that until you're on the home screen, and maybe like almost a minute later, then if you're in the middle of doing something, it pops up saying, hey, you're using beta. I really hate that. So I wish they would do how Google did theirs by having it come come on even before the lock screen when you turn the phone on. Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week. Let's now move on to our next segment, and that's to commensurate with the theme of the week, the ebook readers. And this week I'm demonstrating an ebook reader called Reedy, R-E-E-D-Y. Here's that demo of Reedy. Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast, and for episode 225 App of the Week, I thought since we're doing this week on ebook readers, especially those that are off the shelf, that I will demonstrate an ebook reader that is not blindness specific. Therefore, for this week's episode, App of the Week, I'll be demonstrating Reedy, R-E-E-D-Y. I am on the home page that is on the play page of Reedy, and now we'll tap on the About, and let's hear what the description of Reedy is. Here's what I'm talking about.
About this app. Heading. Google Play Store. Reedy, Intelligent Reader. Details. Read books, articles, any web pages comfortably. Speed reading, text to speech. Read ebooks, articles, any texts and web pages fast and comfortably. Switch easily between regular reading, speed reading up to 3,000 words per minute, and text to speech. Reedy opens files, web links and any text received from other apps. Supported formats EPUB, FB2, HTML, TXT, including books in zip archives. Features. Checkmark 3 reading modes, regular, speed reading, text to speech, voice reading. Checkmark style text, images, tables, links, footnotes. All the elements can be displayed right in the reader. Checkmark extraction of the main content from web pages. Checkmark easy and intuitive navigation through the book. Table of contents with auto creation even for plain text files. Checkmark convenient and informative bookmarks. Checkmark ability to select, copy and share any text from the document. Intelligent sharing of quotes, customize the text to share, attach the book title and or author name in one tap. Checkmark locking of the screen orientation in the reader. Checkmark customizable text size, use the pinch to zoom multi-touch gesture. Checkmark light per day and dark night themes. Checkmark automatic book encoding detection. Checkmark quick lists of recent files, web documents and bookmarks. Checkmark clean, simple and intuitive interface. Speed reading. Increase your reading speed in 1.5-2 times straight away. If you wish you could read 3 or even 4 times faster than usual without the slightest loss of meaning. Reedy uses a technique called RSVP, rapid serial visual presentation, allowing you to read with any comfortable speed. Words are shown fast one after another on the same place of the screen, which increases the speed of perception of every single word. With RSVP you can read being entirely absorbed into a book. Look straight at the displayed word and try to perceive it without subvocal articulation. Also, don't forget to blink. This recommendation can be applied not only to reading smiley face, you should never let your eyes surface get dry. Increase the speed when you get used to and think you're ready. Checkmark touch the screen to play or pause. Checkmark the speed of reading is up to 3,000 words per minute with a possible gradual acceleration. Checkmark progress bar and time left till the end of a book. Checkmark quick preview of the full text, including text formatting, images, tables, etc. during a pause in the speed reader. Checkmark smart slowing, reducing the speed at punctuation marks and complicated words. Checkmark focus mode, the focus point is shifted closer to the beginning of a word. Checkmark navigation through the sentences and paragraphs. Checkmark switch easily between the regular reading and the speed reading. Checkmark use volume buttons to control the speed reader. Press any volume button once to stop or proceed the reading. Press and hold to navigate through sentences, or just use volume buttons for quick speed adjusting. How to begin the reading. Checkmark open a file from your device or SD card using built-in file manager. Formats FB2, EPUB, no DRM, KEPUB, TXT, HTML plus reading books in ZIP archives. Checkmark send a web page from your favorite web browser, Pocket, Feedly, Evernote. Checkmark use Reedy for opening books from another apps in clouds, Google Drive, Dropbox, etc. Checkmark copy any text or link and paste it into the reader. Also you can simply share it with Reedy. Contacts. Extension for Chrome. http://snip.li/p-reedy-chrome. Join us. https://twitter.com/readyreader. https://facebook.com/ready.reader. Website. https://ready-reader.com. Email. azadev.team@gmail.com. Languages English, Spanish, German, Portuguese, Dutch, Russian. Help with translations. https://goo.gl/4erwid. If you've met any difficulties in some file or web document, please let us know by emailing at azagroup.team@gmail.com. And don't forget to attach the problem document. App info. Version 3.4.1. Updated on November 14, 2024. Downloads 100,000 plus downloads. Download size 21.42 megabytes. Required OS Android 6.0 and up. In-app purchases $3.91 minus $39.87 per item. Offered by Artem Krivolapov. Released on May 9, 2015.
And that's both the description and the app history. I'll now go back to that installation page and tap on that install and get started.
Play Store. About this app. Heading. Install. Button. Verified by Play Protect. Pending. Navigate up. Button. Reedy. Intelligent Reader. 5%. 95%. 99%. 100%. Installing. Checking for updates for where. Open.
We're done with the installation and it's sitting on the open button. I'll now go ahead and tap on open.
Reedy. 0. Recent files.
We're in the menu eye of the app and the first thing we heard was recent files is 0, and so there are like little tabs there at the top, and the first one on the left is the recently read files. To the right of that we've got
0. Recent links.
to the right of that,
0. Bookmarks.
and below that we have
Use buttons at the bottom to open books and web pages or to paste your own text. Supported file formats. In horizontal pager. EPUB KPUB F-flat2 F-flat2.zip txt txt.zip. At the moment we're working on the PDF support. Stay in touch. If you have any suggestions or troubles, please let us know by using the feedback dialog in the More menu. In horizontal pager.
And that's all that we have there toward the top, coming down toward the middle of the phone. At the bottom of the screen, though, we have some tabs. And starting from the bottom left, we've got
Open file. Button out of grid pager.
that explains what it does. To the right of that,
Paste text. Button.
to the right,
Open link. Button.
and the last tab
More. Button.
is the More tab. That's all that we have there. I would like to surmise that we'll want to get into the More and see what we have here. So I'll tap on that More.
Pop-up window. File history. Pop-up window.
Tapping on that More, we heard File History. Moving on down.
Web history.
Next.
Bookmarks.
Next.
Open book with.
Next.
Share Reedy.
Next.
Switch theme.
Next.
Preferences.
And Preferences. Let's go ahead and tap on Preferences.
Preferences. Default reading mode. Choose the reader that will be used when you open a book. 1 of 11 in list 11 items.
Moving on down.
Theme. You can switch between light and dark themes. 2 of 11.
And
Emerald black. Opening square bracket. Beta. Enable if you have an emerald display or just want more contrast in the dark theme. Checkbox. Not checked. 3 of 11.
next.
Language. Choose the interface language. 4 of 11.
In other words, if English is not your language, and if your language is one of the very few that are supported, you can go in here and choose your own language. I still don't understand why in 10 years there's just a few number of languages that are supported. So if you're listening and your language is not in here, you could contact them so you could help in the translation. Moving on down.
Status bar. You can hide the Android status bar in the reader. Checkbox. Checked. 5 of 11.
Next.
Extract web content. When you send a web page to Reedy, it will try to extract the main text of this page. Checkbox. Checked. 6 of 11.
Next.
File cache 57.5 kilobytes. Tap to clean all file caches. After cleanup, you will need active internet connection to open every web link. 7 of 11.
Next.
Speed reading settings are inside the speed reader. Just open a book and pick preferences from the drop-down menu. 8 of 11.
In other words, if you want to control the speed, if you want to increase or decrease after you open a book, then you can choose how you want to manage that. Next.
Application version 3.4.1 75. 9 of 11.
Next.
Privacy policy. 10 of 11.
And last item.
Terms of service. 11 of 11.
That's all that we have. I'll now go back.
Reedy. More. Button out of list.
Now let's go ahead and tap on that first tab there at the bottom left, and that's the button for open a file, and see if I could get one old book that we can preview.
Open file. Button.
There we go.
Open document. Device. 1 of 9 in list 9 items.
And here we are. In other words, we're just going to go into the folder that contains an item that we want to take a look at. And so I'm going to tap on Show Roots and go tap on.
Look on device.
We're now where I could choose my internal storage, but I'm going to go under the recent files because I just uploaded or I just sent one file to my phone, and that's the Pride and Prejudice.
Recent files. Heading.
And below that,
Pride and Prejudice, EPUB.
all right.
The Project Gutenberg ebook of Pride and Prejudice. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions.
I just tapped with 2 fingers to stop it, but it just imported that book. Now, let's look at some other items now that I have opened the book. So let's start from the top, see if there's any items at the top, and if there's none, then we'll go toward the bottom and see what we have at the bottom of the phone.
Space. The Project Gutenberg ebook of
We don't have anything there at the top. All we have is like some sort of an image. Now, at the bottom, we have some buttons, and starting from the bottom left, here is what we got. I'll be going right from here. We've got
Show Hide Status Bar button.
to the right of that,
Select Text button.
moving right.
Contents button.
So you could tap here to see the table of contents, moving right.
Add Remove Bookmark button.
Next,
Speed Reader button.
here's the speed reader where you could go in and choose how you want it read, if you want the visual stuff. Next,
Menu button.
the last item here is menu. Let's go ahead and tap on menu.
Pop-up window. Book info. Pop-up window.
Tapping on menu, we heard book info, and moving on down.
Bookmarks.
Next,
Copy file path.
next,
Leave screen on.
we have leave screen on, and to the right of that is a switch.
Checkbox checked for leave screen on.
Moving on down,
Lock orientation.
and to the right,
Checkbox not checked for lock orientation.
moving down.
Search.
Next,
Select text.
next,
Status bar.
and to the right of that,
Checkbox check for status bar.
next. We now come across some buttons here that I found in the middle and going right. So as you move on down through the menu, in the middle, you have some buttons, and we've got 3 buttons. So we got text to speech,
Text to speech button.
and then to the right of it,
Speed reader button.
and then the last button there
Switch theme button.
is the switch theme. Let's go ahead though and tap on that text to speech, because that's probably something that one may want to use if you don't want to just read the text but you want a TTS output. I'll now tap on text to speech.
Text to speech button. Media control Pride and Prejudice Jane Austen. Reedy.
Tapping on text to speech now produces some buttons at the bottom. Starting from the bottom left and going right, these are the buttons that are resulting from tapping on text to speech. We've got,
Audio settings button.
that's if you go in here, you could choose a different voices and all of that. Next,
Previous sentence button.
next,
Play pause button.
next,
Next sentence button.
next.
Menu button.
We come across that menu again, and that's the last item there. Without needing to tap on the play button, let's go ahead though and tap on the audio settings. That's the first button at the bottom left, and I'll tap on audio settings.
Audio settings button.
Tapping on the audio settings, if you touch around the top or the middle of the screen, you'll hear a portion of the book.
The Project Gutenberg ebook of Pride and Prejudice.
If you move your finger down toward the left, however, or if you swipe, if you're a swiper,
Advanced settings button.
we come across Advanced Settings button. Let's go in here real quick and see what Advanced Settings has to offer.
Space.
Tapping on that, here are the items that we come across.
Checkbox check for highlight spoken words. Highlight spoken words. When it's possible. Checkbox check for language auto detection. Language auto detection.
Next,
Volume. Slider 1.0. Stereo pan. Slider 0.0. Rate. Slider 139.0. Pitch. Slider 100.0. Auto. Document language. English. Auto. Voice. English United Kingdom GBA. Engine. Speech recognition and synthesis from Google.
And if you want to change that, you tap there to go choose a TTS engine.
Open system preferences.
If you tap on that, it's going to take you to the TTS area as well. Now, let's go back.
Advanced settings button.
And we're back to where we started. So in other words, you could either tap on this advanced settings to see the things that we talked about, or below here, you'll see the same items that I just went through.
Rate. Slider 139. Pitch.
That's what I'm talking about.
Space.
Now I went back and I'm going to try a little sample. I'm going to tap on the play.
Play pause button.
Cover. The Project Gutenberg eBook of Pride and Prejudice. This eBook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the
I double tapped with 2 fingers to stop it, but you got a general idea of what this is all about.
The Project Gutenberg eBook of Pride and Prejudice. This eBook is for the use of anyone anywhere.
And I just put my finger on and let's see, I want to read line by line.
Words. The Project Gutenberg eBook of.
So it's reading line by line. And so that's the good thing about it. It supports both the TTS output as well as reading the text itself using your screen reader. So I think I really like the app, even though I just got started with it, but it seems to support some of the things that I'm looking for in an ebook reader. It supports the table of contents, support the exposure of the text to the screen reader, as well as giving us the ability to hear it through the text-to-speech output. That's a short demonstration of it, as I don't want to take too much time, but you can go into it and see if this is something that you would like. Thanks for listening. This has been Reedy. And that's the demo of Reedy there. I hope that is something you'll find useful. It's nice to have a little ace in the hole in the event that you need another one. Karen, have you tried this? I know these guys have been there since 2015. I'm surprised that after all these years, they have very few languages that are supported. I'm surprised by it.
Actually, not yet, but I'm planning actually to do it maybe tomorrow, I think. But actually, what I don't like is the fact that you don't have the playback controls right on the screen when you launch the book. At least this is what I saw when I listened to your demonstration. Maybe I'm wrong. You can just correct me if I'm wrong, because I saw that you have to go into more, I think, or the menu or whatever, and then you can find these play and next and stuff. So I prefer for these buttons to be directly on the screen when you open a book. I think this is a better implementation. Other than that, I like to see if it supports actually my language. Maybe they meant to say the languages, the UI languages, not the book languages. So I have to check and see if it's going to detect my language, because it's not included in the supported languages in the Play Store description. But I think maybe they were just talking about the app as a language. I mean, if the app is translated to these languages or not. So this what they were maybe talking about in the Play Store description. I'm not sure, so I have to check. But I like the fact that you can read using the screen reader. I should just see if it's really good enough, if you can swipe easily between the stuff, and if it's convenient to use the screen reader to read when you need to. But I think it's a good one. It has a potential. So yeah.
Yeah, so to answer your question, yeah, it does. It was there in my, even though I didn't go into it. And while we're on here, I want to show you what I'm talking about. So when you open up the app and then you see those buttons at the bottom, and then at that bottom right, there's that menu. So you go in here.
More button.
Oh, more rather. And then you move down and tap on preferences, I believe.
Preferences.
Yeah, so here,
Preferences. Buy Pro donate. 1 of 12.
and
Hit
then
list.
we got,
Default reading mode. Choose the
so
reader that will be used when you open a book.
see, when
2
I
of 12.
showed that, but I didn't go in there. So that default reading mode, you have 3 reading modes. There's either regular, TTS, or speed reading. I'll go in here to show you what I'm talking about.
Default reading mode. Checked. Last used. In list.
And if I move down,
Regular reader.
and then next,
Speed reader.
and
Text to speech.
yeah. So if you choose text to speech, when you open a book, every time there will be those playback controls at the bottom. So I really like the implementation. So if you're someone who likes to use a TTS output, so you could just enable or turn to that one or make that your default so that every time you open a book, you have those playback controls at the bottom. And if you're a speed reader, you're not blind and you like to use that speed reader, you choose that as your default, or you have the regular one. I really like it.
That's interesting. Isn't it similar to Quickify in this? I think Quickify has same or similar reading modes.
I don't think that Quickify has it this way. I think what it has is the layout, whether you have like a horizontal or whatever, just a vertical. I don't remember. I think this is the only one that I've seen where it has, where you could choose like a TTS, output as your default, so that when you open it up, then you have the TTS playback controls right there. It may be that I haven't seen that in Quickify. Maybe there's an update that has it this way, but I haven't seen it. Up next is the tip of the week. This is a feature where we show you a trick or two on how to use some certain feature on your phone or some other feature in a given app. And now for this week's episode, here's your tip of the week. And now to close this week's episode, let's turn on to our tip of the week, and our friend Joe Hodge demonstrates that sharing feature found in Gemini Live.
All right, so I'm going to do a quick recording here of the new feature using Gemini where you can share your screen and actually have a live, real-time conversation about anything on your screen with Gemini. So this is useful for me in a few different apps. I've used it in the weather app to look at the weather map and just ask where the closest precipitation is to me. That is actually pretty cool. And then I've used it for my rugby league app to watch rugby league games from Australia. The sad part, and what I've brought to the group and hopefully to other entities that will help, fight the fight for us, is sadly in the mobile app space, these app developers like ESPN, Spectrum, Max, Paramount, etc., are basically blocking us from using either screenshots or Gemini or these screen recording apps to get information from their app. So the sad part is that I actually can't do what I want to do on the mobile side because these app developers kind of have too much power, in my opinion, and sort of block us out. And I understand why they do it from a sighted perspective. I get that like people would possibly share content or they're just trying to protect their investments, but at the same time, me as the blind user who has access to this kind of stuff for the first time, it really is robbing us the ability to participate in the same realm as our sighted counterparts, and I think that's a sad thing at this moment. If I have a Windows computer or a Mac, I'm not blocked out by the same problem because they don't have as much power over that browser or add-ons as they do in this case with Android and iOS. Because this is a problem on both platforms. This is not just a Google problem or a Android versus iOS thing. This is actually a mobile versus desktop thing. And my hope is that we can have a conversation with these developers, because they can detect if TalkBack is on when the app starts, or a screen reader is on, and that would solve this problem. But regardless, the feature is still cool, and I'm glad and honored to be able to show it to you. But I wanted to share those sort of caveats from the top. So how we use this is we hold down the power button. So I'm on the home screen. I'm just going to hold down the power button, and you're going to see two things that will come up here.
List. Share screen with live. Add attachment.
So those are the two things you see. So share screen with live is basically how you start this. It'll basically, it's going to prompt us to share our screen with Google, and then we will be going. The add attachment is kind of like what we've always had in a sense. So, or had for quite some time now. You could basically just add a picture of something or a document to your Gemini request. So just to forewarn you, I went back to my home screen after doing that, because when you hold down your power button and you're there, theoretically, it's going to start listening to you after TalkBack stops talking. So it's a bit annoying if you are, let's just say, trying to open Facebook, because now you're going to hear those messages being spoken. So you're going to hear this.
List. Share screen with live.
So as TalkBack is talking there, I can't just say open Facebook like someone who can see, right? So you're actually sort of being penalized in a way if you're not using these things from Gemini, because if you're using something else, you have to wait for TalkBack to shut up or mute TalkBack before you do that command. So, all right, so here we go.
List. Share screen with live.
I'm going to double tap that.
Drop down list. Share
So here's a drop down list. We have a drop down where I can and share my entire screen is already checked, so I'm just going to move past this. But in there, you could also share just an app if you like.
When you're sharing your entire screen, anything on your screen is visible to Google. Cancel.
All right,
Share
so
screen.
we know this,
Button.
so I'm going to go ahead and start this. Can you tell me my cellular signal?
Looking at your screen, you've got a solid 5G signal. Anything else I can help you with?
How many bars do I have?
Okay, I see you have full bars. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Can you describe my home screen?
Okay, I see your home screen has a bunch of app icons. There's a Google search bar at the bottom, and the time is displayed in the top left corner. Anything specific you'd like to know of this about it? Watch NRL.
Can you tell me about the Watch NRL logo?
The Watch NRL logo has a green background with a white outline of a rugby player in the center. The text, Watch NRL, is below the player in white bold letters. What else can I answer for you? Collapsed. Silent. Collapsed. 4 new mess. Expand. Button. Collapsed. Live with jump. Expand. Hang up. Expand.
I'm going to hang up for a second. I'm going to go back. I'm going to
Watch NRL.
tap on my Watch NRL here to bring up some video.
Progress bar.
But
Watch NRL.
could she not be any more wanting to end that conversation? Like, I wish Google would stop that. Like, is there anything else? Could you get out of the? It's like my mom when I would ask her to read me something. Like, oh, I'm so bothered by you doing this.
Navigate up.
Anyway,
Cast. Selected. Upcoming matches. Match.
so I'm gonna choose match replay here.
Doll. NRL. Round.
So this is the game from this morning. So I'm gonna click on that,
Button.
and I'm gonna
Cast. Button. Doll. Download. Doll. Button.
click on that.
Doll. NRL. Download. Off. Match scores off. Button. DOL versus Brit.
So now I'm gonna turn. So we got the rugby league started now. So I'm gonna turn Gemini Live back on, and we're gonna share this video here.
List. Share your screen with Google. When you cancel, share.
Two impressive wins on the board.
Can you describe what's in the video?
That's at the expense of the Mariner. Despite losing
It looks like you're watching the Dolphins versus Brisbane Broncos NRL game from March 28th, 2025. Are you looking for the final score? Or is there anything else I can help you with?
the Battle of Brisbane.
Can you tell me who has the ball?
Fifth occasion. And it's the Dolphins who get things going.
It's hard to tell from this angle. The video shows the scoreboard with DOL 0-0 BRI at the top, so neither team has scored yet.
First Battle of Brisbane. 3-1. Broncos lead the count.
So this game just kicked off, so I'm going to let it go for a second, and then I'll ask another question.
Ball up line. Gafusi. Not many meters here. Brisbane already.
Can you tell me who has the ball now?
The Dolphins keep inside their 20.
It looks like the Dolphins have the ball right now.
Here's a mismatch.
Can you tell me what player has the ball?
It's a little hard to see in the video, but it looks like Dolphins.
Moving to the second row this year. Boy, they're going to need a good kick here, the Dolphins. Tanchola under pressure. Pass. Ball over it.
Can you tell me who has the ball?
No problem on the challenge. Walsh a little room to move. Walsh. Ball gets around Farnworth and almost a half.
It's a bit hard to tell from the video, but it looks like Broncos player Reece Walsh has the ball right now.
Can you tell me more about Reece Walsh?
Placing Dean Mariner in that right centre position.
Reece Walsh is a really exciting player. He's a fullback for the Brisbane Broncos in the NRL. He's known for being super fast and agile, which makes him a threat every time he gets the ball. Did you want to know anything else about him?
No.
Three of them there to meet him. Fusi down low. Marshall King there.
Can you tell me about Marshall King?
Finefuiaki. And turning it in. Gajewski makes it to the 20. One play left here. Walsh shipping on the left side. He wants it. Here's the kick for Hart. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's tricky.
Left.
And a let off for the Dolphins. So they're off and running here in the
All right.
Battle of Brisbane.
So Reece Walsh is known for his speed.
No,
and
can you tell me
agility.
about Marshall King?
Unfortunately, the wet weather continues here in southeast Queensland for the Battle of Brisbane. It has rained.
Marshall King is a hooker for the Dolphins. He's known for his speed and creativity around the ruck, which makes him a key part of their attack. He's been playing really well lately.
Can you tell me about the weather from the game?
Daniel Saifidi was the only Dolphins forward to make more than 100.
It looks pretty wet. The commentators mentioned it's been raining all week in southeast Queensland, and it's still coming down pretty heavily. It's definitely making for a tough, slippery game.
That's a great tackle from Shibasaki. That was desperately needed as the shift comes in. Beautiful ball, Nicarima. Gilbert down the middle. Oh, he had Farnworth on his outside. The frustration
Can you tell me what yard line they're on?
shows as Gilbert takes the tackle. But that's only tackle number 3.
Sure, Marshall King is a hooker for the Dolphins. He's known for his
Can you tell me
speed and
where the ball is
creativity
on the field?
ruck.
Here from the Broncos. Saifidi to Settler. Right side
It's
here
hard
is
to tell
Settler.
exactly from the video, but it looks like the ball is around the middle of the field.
Kantor under pressure. Hunt all over him, and he can't finish the tackle. Kantor straightening.
Can you tell me how much time has gone?
Tackle lefty. The Hammond lurking on the left. That's where it goes. Nicarima. Oh, the pass to Herbie. And Staggs does just enough, but he needs some help. Big help from Reece Walsh. And
Can you tell me how
Herbie's
much time is left in the half?
fantastic set, Dolphins, but no result.
Great attacking set to start this game from the Dolphins. Arrow straight, powerful running. Gilbert and Farnworth on that left-hand side opened up the Broncos to start.
Oh, strong shot on
There's 36 minutes and 32 seconds left in the first half. Off. Characters.
Hendrickson.
So, as you could tell there, I don't want to spend tons of time.
Live with Gemini. Not checked. Checked. Turn off screen. Okay. I've turned the I've translate feature back on. You can use it to see captions of what I'm saying.
Okay.
Not many meters here.
There we go.
Home.
Good grief.
Recent app. Watch NR. Google Gem. Screenshot. Select.
So, as you can tell there,
Screen
it
on.
is really good. I mean, there are flaws, obviously. So I've had it like just randomly go off about something. I've had it randomly hallucinate. But overall, this is like better than we've ever had, in my opinion. And it's really a great feature. I've been using Copilot on Windows to sort of do the same thing. It was my dream. I was actually talking to John, and I thought, like, we would be 6 months from seeing it, maybe to a year on mobile. And then, basically Android rolled it out, Gemini rolled it out last week, with Google. So it's amazing to me that we've got it on mobile. With this new rollout, you also can use the stuff from Astro to use your camera. So I'm going to show you that real quick, just briefly. So if I go into Gemini, let me get down there. Sorry.
Google TV.
There we go.
Google One. Google. Gmail has Gemini. Gemini.
And then if I click on
microphone. Open Gemini Live.
Live.
Page. Not checked. Not checked. Turn on screen sharing. Not checked. Turn on video streaming. Checked. Not checked. Pause the conversation. Button.
Can you tell me what you see in my office here? Hey Gemini, are you there?
It looks like a pretty standard office setup. I see a desk with a laptop, a multi-line telephone, and what looks like a stand for papers or a tablet. The walls are painted a light green, and there's an office chair tucked under the desk. Anything else I can help you notice?
Can you tell me more about this keyboard that I'm looking at right now?
From what I can see, it looks like a Braille keyboard with a Perkins-style layout. Is there anything specific you'd like to know about it?
Do you know the brand?
I can't quite make out the brand name from here. Could you get a little closer? Or maybe tell me what's written on it.
It says Mantis. Can you now look at it again?
Okay, I see it now. It's a Mantis Q40. That's a refreshable 40-cell Braille display that connects via USB or Bluetooth. It can be used with computers or mobile devices. Do you have any other questions about it?
So is it a QWERTY keyboard or a Braille keyboard?
It's both. The top part has a standard QWERTY keyboard, and the bottom part has a refreshable Braille display.
Awesome. And then can you tell me what this bottle of soda is?
That's a bottle of Mountain Dew. It's got that bright green color and the Mountain Dew logo on the label. Anything else you'd like me to identify? Close. Signed in as Joe.
So there we go.
Oh.
So that is a little bit about what you can do now with the new Gemini application. And I would urge all of you to play around with it because I think it's game changing. And, imagine, what we see a lot with this space is, things are moving more to wearables. And I mean, I think this will change the game when it gets to glasses, if it's possible. It does make the phone a little hot, just doing especially the camera feature. My phone is heated up pretty significantly, but still fine. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this demonstration.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate that demonstration. And guys, we encourage you to send us your demos. So if you have time, you want to demonstrate an app or want to do a little tip of the week, feel free to do so and send it to us at our contact us email address. That's contactus@blindandroidusers.com, or you could just contact us on Telegram if you're in our group and let us know that you have such a demo. So we encourage all listeners to be participating in doing things of this nature.
I found this demo pretty interesting. So I'm obviously friends with Joe, and me and him share opinions on a lot of things. So I was happy that he was complaining about the screen blocking issue, because I would have done the same thing. But yeah, so a couple things I wanted to point out is, and he did in the demo, so maybe I don't have to, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you need, for both of these features, sharing your screen and sharing your camera, at this point, you need Gemini Advanced, or whatever they're calling it now, the paid version. Is that right, Warren?
I would like to believe so, but I don't know, because I already...
These things are always changing, right? And we have it. So right now I have the free 6 months that came with my S25. So I don't know. I think you have to be a premium user.
No, stop thinking. Actually, it's right. So you can be confident about this. You should be an advanced user.
Yeah, what we don't know is how long this is going to be the case, because they told us Gemini Live was an advanced thing, right? And then
it came to
they
everybody.
let everybody have it eventually. So I'm hoping by the time my 6 months expires, they'll let this be just a regular feature, because I don't, as much as I like this, I don't think it's something I would pay for, especially not $20 a month. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Too much.
But yeah, so something I found interesting was how good it was. He was at hearing him, because for the demo he didn't use his phone in the demo how he normally would use his phone. He would normally have like headphones connected or something, right? But so for demonstration purposes, he had the actual sound playing out of the speaker, and I was like impressed with how well it was actually hearing him. I think some of the delays in its responding, sometimes it would take a long time to respond. I think some of that might have been related to like it just trying to figure out who was talking. But just the fact that it knew him from the commentators was kind of impressive to me. Like it knew when he was asking a question, and it would answer the question. And it was also listening to the commentators at the same time, because when he asked about the weather, she said the commentators mentioned that it was raining earlier on in the broadcast. It's like, so she's actually paying attention to what the audio is playing on the phone and listening to him at the same time. So I found the demo pretty impressive. Whether or not it's something that you want to rely on, as with all AI at this point, you may not want to trust it with your life.
I'm there with you, John, and say what everyone wants to say about Gemini. I found it really impressive that it was actually able to hear him, even that noise was going on. It's going to be hard to really distinguish who is talking, and so I came to the same conclusion that you came to, John, that the delay of responding to what his query was owed to the fact that is trying to figure out which one to respond to. So it did a very good, decent job.
Because for me, the response time is always a lot faster than that for me. So I think that is what was going on there in the demo. I tried the camera feature on my oven earlier, and it was actually working really good. It would tell me it described the buttons to me, and then I would put like my oven. I can actually feel where the buttons are, which is kind of rare on an appliance, right? But I can't tell what they're labeled. But so I'd put my finger on a button. I'd say, "What button is my finger on?" And she'd say, "Oh, that's on the clear button." And then I'd move it to another one, and I'd say, "What about now?"
Nice.
She'd say, "That's the big button." So I was impressed, because it was actually like remembering the buttons, because it can't see what the button is with my finger on it, right?
Exactly.
It was actually remembering.
It's using the
video it had seen already.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I was like, this is actually really nice.
Hey,
now,
I love that. You've given me an idea, John.
Like I said, I don't know if it was telling me correctly or not. But if it was answering me correctly, then that was very impressive.
We talk about my induction stove, so I'm going to be playing with that as soon as we're done with this recording, because now it gives me an idea now of how to go about using that thing, because I know where the buttons are now, and I can operate it on my own. But I'm really going to try to play with it and see what it says. That's really good.
Yeah,
this is something we've been looking for.
Yeah.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah, but John, since you were talking about the screen sharing blocking feature, which also was discussed by Joseph. Actually, first let me say that the demo was great. I really liked it, and I was impressed by listening to it. It's a very nice one. Thank you, Joseph. And regarding this, I don't know. Yeah, it's convenient to be able to share the screen and to have any restrictions lifted, but well, it's at the end of the day not an accessibility feature. So I don't know why we should ask. I'm talking here like practically. Why should we ask the app developers to remove such restrictions? okay, we are blind and we are going to use this with Gemini, but this would mean that also other people will be able to use the screen sharing thing with Gemini. So I don't know. I don't see it as really practical. And maybe with TalkBack, things could be different. But
the problem is that it's not different with TalkBack. And I don't know if it's the app developers we should be asking. I think it's too much to ask. I don't think they're going to listen to. But I think we should be asking Google to disable this feature for accessibility purposes, because it's not just a Gemini thing. Like, even if you're using TalkBack, say I'm watching something in Paramount Plus and I just put the video player in focus and I do the gesture to just have a description, right? TalkBack tells me screen capture not available. Like, it says, it'll either say screen capture not available, or it will think it's working, and then it will say, this is nothing but a black rectangle with nothing in the image. So, like, the fact that I don't think TalkBack should have to depend, and Gemini for that matter, should have to depend on whether an app allows screen recording or screen captures. I think there should be a workaround built into Android for accessibility reasons in these situations.
Yeah,
well, I think I kind of agree with Karine, though, because it's not just with us, but I'm looking at the banking apps, for example. You cannot take a screenshot of your banking app. So I think it's something that has to do with security. And my thinking is that if Google allows this, some nefarious guys will take advantage of that and find a hole in a security. And I can see where they're coming from. But if there's a way to where if it detects that one is using a screen reader, for example, and then opens that up for you, then I'm fine with that. But so if you're sighted, you could grab another device and take a picture of it. And the same thing, if you're blind, you can also grab another phone and take a picture of that screen as well. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily seeing this as something to worry about, because this is a universal thing and it's not just about us.
Yeah, let me clarify something. Actually, what I was trying to say that with Gemini, I was trying to differentiate between Gemini and TalkBack. And if you are asking Google, for example, to act and to let Gemini be able to share the screen because you're, as a blind person, able, or you are going to take advantage of Gemini, I don't think that this makes sense. But for TalkBack, yeah, it does make sense. I'm also leaning to what Ron is saying regarding security, but when we are talking about TalkBack, it's the system app, actually. So because it's a system app, I think it should be able to have this privilege. If Google wants to take this route, I'm not sure that Google is willing to do so, but I think it's able to do that. But, well, here comes a question. I haven't tried, but I could try if you haven't tried already. So if you try screen recording with, for example, the default Samsung screen recorder, is it going to work? It's not actually going to help you to share directly, or to have a live sharing, or to have a live description. But what I'm trying to know, because the Samsung screen recorder, for example, is a system app. So if it's able to remove this limitation, or it's able to work without this limitation, this could be a positive sign that also Google could work to help in making TalkBack, for example, work and to take a screenshot, even if the app itself doesn't allow for screenshot taking. So this is only with TalkBack. I mean, Google is not going to give this privilege to Gemini, but I'm talking about TalkBack as a screen reader. So did you try the Samsung screen recorder with these apps that don't allow for screen sharing and screenshot capturing?
No, I didn't. Should I? So I'm going to guess what I think will happen is it will just have a blank screen. Like it will just be a black screen during that part when you're recording. Like it won't actually record the video on the screen.
I would like to
Give it a
think that
try.
it would be a blank screen as well, and here's why. Um, Karen, you mentioned the fact that TalkBack is a system app. Well, the screenshot capability is also a system, app, system function, but it will not capture a screenshot of, one of those sensitive apps. And so I'm thinking the same thing. I tried to record, I don't remember what it was, with an AZ recorder, and all it did was give me a blank screen as well. And so I think this has to do with security.
No. Third party screen readers won't be able to do that. It's something that you shouldn't discuss actually, or we shouldn't have any discussion about
I'll just try it real quick so we know. Let's see.
So we're right here. So John, you go ahead and try it, live on here, and maybe go to one of our YouTube clips or something, so that we don't get into somebody's hot water. I don't know. And we could just try it with it, but something tells me it may not work.
Yeah, but you can take screenshots with
I'm
YouTube.
just gonna do it. It's gonna be a mess, but I just want to find out.
Screen recorder. Start recording with screen recorder. Screen recorder will have record sound. Not selected. None. Radio. Not selected. Media. Selected. Media and mic. Off. Show taps and touches. Cancel button. Start recording button. Nova launcher. Telegram.
Okay, so we're recording. I'm gonna go
Password manager. Chrome.
to
Folder. Streaming for more items. Disney Plus. Hulu. Max. Netflix. Paramount Plus.
I know Paramount gives me problems.
Go to Netflix or Disney.
No, I know Paramount
Plus
is one.
Now streaming
Let's
in
see.
horizontal pager. Leonardo. Ready to explore. Out of list. Transformers 1. 1 of 10.
Okay.
Selected. Home.
I'm gonna play
Movie poster.
Transformers.
Image out of list. Clickable button to watch movie. Paramount Plus. Landscape. Video player. Flight.
Let's go home.
Nova launcher. Paramount Plus featuring collapse. Expand. Dismiss.
I'm gonna dismiss that. Let's see.
Quick settings.
All right.
Facebook.
I'm gonna open the
My
recording.
files. My files. Just now. Screen _ recording. Open with ElevenLabs. As screen file. Photos. Video player. Column. Video player. Hide control S. Out of grid. Chrome. Folder. Streaming for more items. Disney Plus. Hulu. Max.
So I can see my screen enough to know if it's showing up or not. I'll just let you know.
No, I know Paramount Plus. Now streaming.
Yeah, you're getting to it. It's getting close.
Leonardo. Ready to explore. Out of list. Transformers 1. 1 of 10. Selected. Home.
If this works, I'm gonna be pissed.
Watch movie. Paramount Plus. Landscape. Video player. Spike.
Yeah, there's nothing on the screen. It's just black.
I was slightly optimistic.
It records the audio, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna do it.
Ashley Dyer. 2:27 p.m. Headed home from McDonald's on
This is
Battlefield.
something I experienced with AZ recorder. I mean, I could hear the audio,
Susan
but
Ganaway.
the visuals are not there.
So I just tried it and it didn't work. I did a screen recording with the Samsung stock screen recorder, and it did record everything. But when I played back the video, the portion where the movie was actually playing, although I heard the sound, there was nothing to it. It was just a black screen with some play controls. Actually, it was just a black screen. The play controls were not part of the video. But yeah, there was nothing there.
Yeah, again, this thing is not going to work. They're all, like I said, someone could take advantage of this and exploit some security thing in there. So, like I said, I personally am not worried about it, and I wouldn't raise hell over this.
I would raise hell over this, but I know Google doesn't care, and they're not going to address it. But I think if the operating system can prevent you from doing this, they can also make exceptions in certain. I mean, if it's a security thing, it's one thing, right? But if it's just copyright reasons, like you could let TalkBack see a video, and even Gemini, if the Google app is technically a system app, you could even make it so that Gemini and TalkBack could both see but the screen recorder can't see that. Like, they have full control over this. Whether they would spend the time and money to actually make an exception for us is a whole other issue. But it would be possible to allow us access to this, and I hope they decide to at some point, because I mean, I would use it for this, but I guess I won't be anytime soon.
Yeah, but technically, the Gemini was seeing the screen. That's why it was able to say where the ball was, on the field.
No, he specifically chose that rugby app because they don't prevent you from doing screen recordings. Like, if he was watching something on Paramount Plus, or if he was watching something on Max, like a sporting event, it would not have worked. As soon as you bring up the video, Gemini Live stops. Like, you hear it go whoomp. It ends it. It automatically ends it as soon as you go into something that restricts screen recording.
I got it. So definitely it has to be, the content providers don't want it. And so Google is respecting that. I mean, Google's in a lot of hot water. So I can see, the paranoia.
Yeah, but there could be an exception made. That's all I'm saying. Like, anybody can record anything on an Android phone if they really wanted to. They could root their phone and just completely do away with these restrictions that Google's. So, I mean, like, somebody recording copyrighted content on their Android phone is not a problem, in my opinion. Like, there's so many other ways to do it. And, like, you'd have to jump through so much hoops to do it. Like, there would be a way for Google to say, TalkBack can see this, but a screen recorder can't. And I'm not saying disable the thing altogether if TalkBack is running. They could even say, like, the screen recorder still can't see this, even while TalkBack is running, but TalkBack can see it. Like, I think there would be a way to do that if they really cared to.
Well, but John, if someone could root their phone, what would stop a blind person from rooting their phone if they are so much into this stuff that they really want it? So I just don't think that just because we're blind, we're going to be given special privileges. I just don't buy this one.
Well, we 100% disagree there.
Yeah, we definitely disagree on this one.
Well, you have to buy it for one reason, which is that a sighted person is able to see the screen while the blind person is unable to see the screen. And what the TalkBack image description does.
Thank you. This is exactly the point I needed to make. Like, so TalkBack seeing the screen is just like, TalkBack is our eyes. So app developers aren't going to say, and Android isn't going to say, we're not going to show this on the screen because they could be standing there with a camera recording it. Like, that defeats the whole purpose of it. So if TalkBack is our eyes, or if Gemini is our eyes, let our eyes see it.
Yeah, but Gemini, let's put Gemini aside. I mean, Gemini is for all. So you can't ask Google to let Gemini be able to like work normally when an app blocks taking screenshot or sharing the screen. I mean, this should be only restricted to TalkBack because it's a system screen reader. Although there's the problem of sending the images online, which is also a security risk in a way or another, because actually this image is leaving the device and it's going online. So because most of the phones actually don't have nano descriptions, so so this is also a security risk. But I think they should have a balance here, and they should see, well, what should be considered like more important. Is it the ability of a blind person to let those screenshots described, or the developers of the app, or these apps security? So I think there should be something that they should think about. I don't think that Google is going to do anything. They just will relax and do nothing. But yeah, it's really
that we all agree on.
Actually, yeah, but it's disappointing, because I mean, what if YouTube, for example, Google decides to make YouTube block screenshot capturing? What should we do? I mean, I use, for example, a description in YouTube or other. So if this becomes the norm, this would be an issue. Because, for example, WhatsApp recently started having this screenshot blocking for profile pictures, and I used to describe profile pictures using Gemini, TalkBack Gemini descriptions. So if this becomes the norm, then we will be really in real trouble.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse.
All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us. And this is why you need your capable podcast crew here, because, we see it from different viewpoints. And I love the way we look at it. And guys, I think with that, though, we're coming to the end of this week's episode. Again, we thank you guys for listening. And John is standing by, giving you information on how you can get hold of us. And here's John now to give you that information on how to get hold of our knuckleheads, especially my knucklehead.
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to blindandroidusers+subscribe@groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Well, guys, with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. And again, thank you so much for listening week in, week out. We look forward to seeing you next week. From me, though, I want to say goodbye and thanks again for listening to us.
Goodbye. Have a great week.
Happy Eid. Goodbye.